Welcome to Vino with Vito. Today we have Dave Taramina with U.S. Bank co-hosting, and our special guest is Dina Furluge. Dina Furluge is an associate with us at Century 21 The Crossing, and she sells real estate, and also Dina does, can you explain your foundation that you have?
Sure.
And we'll go back and forth from real estate and your foundation. How's that? Oh, but before we get started, I wanted to thank Dave for the bottle. Oh, wait a minute. You never bring it. Thank you, Dina, for the bottle.
Nina. We have a lot of Ninas.
We have a Nina, we have a Dina,
and a
we
Tina.
have a Tina,
Yep.
we have a Lena, we have
All the Inas.
all the Inas. But we got a nice bottle of, I can't even pronounce it, but it's red.
That's why I picked it.
It's red and it,
That must mean it's good.
and it looks good.
Yeah.
And today, the other thing I wanted to thank was Jerry and Julian from Robert Graham. Check out this cool shirt. It's called Sunset.
It's amazing.
They picked it out just for the podcast because since we do the podcast at night, the sunset. What do you guys think?
Who picked that out for you?
When I went to the Robert Graham store,
They have a great sense of humor, those guys over there.
Julian.
They're like, do we have a shirt for you?
Oh my God!
Just because you can't wear stuff like this, Dave, don't get
Well,
upset.
Dina, just so you know, Vito works part time as a blackjack dealer.
Okay.
In Atlantic City, so he came right from work with that shirt
Oh
on.
my gosh. It's yes, I'm a Vegas native, and it really
Vegas,
Yeah.
I
reminds
did
me
not
of
know
home.
that.
So thank you for that.
That's right. So you're from Vegas. You grew up in
I
Vegas.
grew up in Vegas.
Okay.
To take it back to real estate, I bought my first house when I was 22. The Vegas market at that point was like nothing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
You could buy something, flip it, and literally make like a 300% profit.
Yep.
So that's what we were doing. I was 22. I bought my first house. I flipped it 2 years later, bought another house, and then the market crashed.
Yep. What year are we on?
So that was 2002
Okay.
when I bought my first one, and then by 2006, really 2008 is
Yep.
really when things like went downhill.
right.
Everybody was short selling their houses, foreclosing, and it just sort of
Yep.
collapsed.
Yep.
Which that's really what got me into real estate, was really learning so much from that experience.
Right. It was a wild time.
It was.
Yeah.
So when I moved to the East Coast, I got my license when I had my first daughter.
Okay.
And I've been doing it ever since.
And you have 3 kids?
I have 3 daughters. So I have a 12-year-old,
Thank you.
a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old.
Okay.
3 girls.
Three girls.
3
Yeah.
girls. See that?
Salute.
And this is why I drink wine.
Salute.
Me too.
Salute.
I love
Salute,
the wine.
guys.
Cheers.
And by the way, you make your own wine too.
Mm-hmm. I have a saying where my husband make it a wine and I drink it a wine.
I love it.
Wow,
It's very
this
good
is
wine.
It's
very
pretty good.
Yeah.
Very good wine.
Not bad for 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. No, 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
What a night.
This is a
Hence
night
the
podcast.
sunset.
Yes,
The
11.
Yes.
The
This is
sunset.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm getting
We
tired.
Well,
never-
she's from Vegas, so she's a few hours
Oh,
behind.
you
Yeah.
are-
Yes.
There you go.
Time zone.
The
West
time
Coast.
zone, West Coast.
So what year did you move to Jersey?
So I moved here in 2008, and then I short sold my house, basically living here and
Yep.
like over the phone.
Okay.
So got rid of it. And lesson learned, know what you're buying.
That's it. For everybody, short sale meaning you owed a lot more than the house was worth, and the bank had to actually take a lot less money for it, and you weren't obligated to pay, the
Which was very common in
Yes.
2007,
Yes.
2010.
Yeah,
Because
love it.
everyone's home value literally plummeted.
Yeah, like
So
50%.
exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone's loan was so much higher than the value. So
Yep.
Right. We had a lot of short sales here.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that, Dave? Back, I remember 09, 10, nothing was selling. Everything was, prices just kept going down, down, down.
we
And-
bought our first house in Nutley in 2010 on a short sale.
There you
So
go.
we were on the other side of it, which
Yeah.
was great because then when we sold it 10 years later, we did really well.
Right.
But yeah, it was an interesting time.
It's funny because, again, we're all in the real estate industry, and for listeners out there, they always ask, like, this market, like, quote unquote, is a tough market this year because rates were high, a lot of bidding wars, not a lot of inventory, right? But it's nothing compared to that window, like 2007 2010.
Forget it.
I mean, you would put your house on the market in the morning and have to drop the price by like 20% in the afternoon.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
It was people were losing their jobs,
Yeah.
like, you know, so in comparison, you know, for everyone out there, like, yes, it's a tough market right now because buyers are getting boxed out because there's a lot of offers, but it doesn't compare at all to that time period.
I speaking about short sales, I bought my house on a short sale
did?
in 2013. We started the process at the end of 2012. I didn't close on it
Yeah,
until
that was the other thing.
June
It took
of
forever.
2013.
Yeah.
We closed in Nutley in 60 days, which was unheard of.
Right.
They were actually already in contract with someone else, and the seller got mad at the buyer and basically took their contract and put ours in,
Yep.
and then wanted to get the deal done as fast as possible. So we were benefiting from that, but it's a headache. You have to really know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of short sales where I actually deal with the banks, and instead of the attorney, and in a way I'm happier doing it because at least I know where we stand every time I call them, every time.
And that's
hey,
you have to do. You have to
oh,
stay
you
on
have
them.
to stay on them.
Call them every day. Yep.
Stay on them. I think on one of the podcasts, it was one of the banks, and they're like, okay, here, this is the price. I go, well, the guy owes that much money anyway. It's not a short sale.
Right.
Where you coming from?
Oh,
you know?
interesting. Yeah.
But they ended up, changing. They had an appraiser come out, and and by the way, you have to have the appraiser come out to at least let the bank know what the house is worth, so they can do the short sale.
But some banks, and it depends on who you work with, would throw a number out there without even understanding the market.
Right.
It was wild.
Yeah, let's hope we don't have to deal with a market like that anymore.
No, and I
Yeah.
think we won't because we don't have that type of inventory anymore.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
who knows when we will again.
Yeah, it'll be a couple years
Yeah.
if we ever run into that.
Right, and I had a person where they were going to short sell their house a couple years ago, and they didn't do it. They kept the house rented out. It was actually a condo. They kept it rented, and the market picked up so much where we ended up selling it, and he had so much equity in the house. That's how these prices have just gone through the roof. From
Right.
Yep.
a short sale several years earlier, now you got $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in equity,
Right.
which is insane.
I know.
So you moved to Jersey. You got you hung your real estate license. At
So
a local-
I worked in Nutley where we
Right.
were living, also for Century 21 there, and really because I was having children, I sort of like put real estate on the side burner. I wouldn't say the back burner,
Right,
but
right.
I
Because you
wasn't-
did do business during that time period.
I
Like, if you look at
did,
your
and-
numbers, like you did business. So
Yeah.
it's-
So I was working, but I was also just like a full-time mom.
Right.
Still am. And then when I moved to Montville is when I joined Century 21 The Crossing.
And what year is that?
That was 2020.
Okay.
That was right at
And then another significant event happened.
Right. Yes.
and we know the same people.
Yep.
One of the attorneys, El Grande, Carolyn, had
Oh, yeah.
mentioned you coming to Century 21.
Ange
Carolyn,
Sicoli,
Yep.
my old broker. She was like a mom to me, though, too. She would be like, honey, go home, like, focus on your family, come back to the office. She was always really great about valuing my time, which is important, too. But, yeah, real estate's just always been a part of my life.
But why New Jersey now? Did you have family here or?
Well, that's another story, but
Okay.
actually,
That's another story
When the
glass
wine
of
goes,
wine.
okay.
yeah, the wine's got to
Yes.
flow.
Got it. Okay.
No,
okay.
I met
You-
my
you-
husband in Vegas, and he was living in New York. So I really moved from Vegas to Brooklyn, and
Okay.
then we moved to Nutley together.
Okay. And is your husband Craig?
My husband, Craig.
Okay. Well, must be an amazing guy for her to move across the country,
Yes.
leave the beautiful weather of Vegas to come here.
Well, he
we should get
says
him on the podcast.
His saying is, "What happens in
How did
Vegas
this
doesn't
happen?
always stay in Vegas.
Yes.
It moves in with you and takes over."
Yeah, I was just gonna say he brought Vegas home.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
So, what did you find? So you had no connection to Jersey
No,
at all.
not at all.
So, and it's funny because I always like to ask people how they built their business and whatever, and you're pretty ranked up there in the state of New Jersey for Century 21 agents. So, what's the one thing you did in an area you don't know or didn't know?
Yeah, really don't know about.
Because real estate's a very personal business, right?
Yes.
You have a lot of successful people have roots in the neighborhood. You transplanted yet you're successful. How did you do it?
So I will tell you, growing up in Vegas, it's a transient place, and I felt connected to the East Coast because a lot of people that moved there was from here. So I felt very comfortable and almost kind of immediately rooted when I moved here. In Nutley, it was sort of like a friends and family situation too. People that I would meet when you have children, you're talking to those families, and then you become synonymous with like the realtor for the families.
Right.
And because I didn't grow up here, marketing for me was my number one focus. I've always been out there with social media. Even before I was really focusing on it with real estate, I was always putting pictures of my family, getting my face out there in the most authentic way. Because,
letting people see behind the curtain of who you
but
really are.
also because my family wasn't here, that was how they saw my family grow.
Right.
And so for me, I just never thought about it. And you really shouldn't think about it. You should just do what feels natural. Don't fake it. And that connects with people. It resonates.
Right.
And I think that's how my business grew.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She must have went to college. Resonates.
And she used transient. V. I was worried for Vito when he used the word transient. He was like,
I was like, going,
That's right.
I'm sorry. I'm very advanced.
That's right.
But you hit it right on the spot.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do in the real estate business. Everybody thinks, hey, I get my real estate license. I'm going to go out there and sell houses. You got to let everybody know every day this is the business you're in.
Yeah, you got to show them that you're working,
right.
but also show them what you're doing when you're not working. Who are you?
Absolutely.
And as long as it is natural to you, I think that it will connect with people. And that's really all my focus is when I put myself out there like that.
And you got to be real, like you said. You can't
always
be fake, and you got to be real. You got to let people, know that hey, you're trustworthy and you're honest, and that's how you get ahead in this business.
Yeah.
Same thing with mortgages.
With any job. I think it's any job. I mean, any commission sales job, if you're self-employed, I think you just have to be yourself because people do business with people they like.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Nobody wants to deal with a snake oil salesman.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll give you a perfect example. Last week, I showed a house, and we're going through the house. The people loved it. And we're talking about it. What do you think, Vito? I picked up this new customer. It was a high-end house. And we're going through it, and there was another house that they really liked that they wanted to put an offer. But now they see this one, much older, and it was a flip. And looking at it, I'm saying, you know what? Some of it's good. Other parts of it, I think you're going to have issues with it. Yeah. But we really like it. We want to put an offer. And I said, well, think really about it. Don't just say, hey, because I'm looking, it looks great, I want it. I said, really take a deep breath and think about it. I'll give you the pros, I'll give you the cons, and I'll give you what I think. Mm-hmm. And at the end of our conversation, I told him, I said, and by the way, there's a selling bonus here of $25,000. Who wouldn't want $25,000? I'm actually steering you kind of.
It might not be the best for you.
I'm going to make an extra $25,000 on top of the commission, but I'm telling you, hey, I don't want to hear anything down the road. Why did you push me to this house? No, I'm telling you ahead of time.
And that's what's going to separate you from everyone else.
Right. And the guy was like, wow, thank you so much, for telling me that, and everything. He did end up making an offer on that house, but then thought about it and went back and saw all the flaws and, pulled his offer.
As you grow your business, any field, right? Like there is like a, what you put out in the universe, right? There's a cosmic balance to it where if you do the right thing, it will come back to you. I know it sounds cliche, but
no, it's true.
It's so true.
I always put my best foot forward. Real estate is a small world, especially in Essex County, even Morris County where we live now. Everyone knows everyone. You do multiple deals with the same agents or different brokers and stuff like that. You have to put your best foot forward because it will come back to bite you. Especially in a multiple bid situation, they're going to be like, I don't want to work with this guy or this woman. Like, she did this to me last time. People remember.
Yep.
So you always have to leave them with a good feeling, no matter how it goes. Just always be kind.
Right. People always remember. That's how you stay in business. My business, 95% of it is, referral business.
Yeah.
So I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
It's definitely not your shirts.
Oh, come on. It definitely is
I
the
think
shirt.
it's the
I think
wine.
I'm getting, because of the shirts, I'm getting a referral business. Dave, don't get jealous with the shirts. Come on.
Yeah.
One day you'll be able to wear a
Oh
Graham shirt.
man, I hope.
With
I'm
no
not there
batteries.
yet. I'm not there yet.
One day.
One day.
One day. And that day will come.
Yes.
Gonna
Yes. I
shock
hope.
the world.
Yes. Well, that's really, that's really what I want to get out of, like, like guest hosting, is that I could get a shirt. So that's
Oh.
yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, for Christmas.
And by the way, we have a Vino with Vito shirt for you. Too.
Oh, I
Yeah.
will wear it proudly.
It's in the other room.
I
there.
also have a free Vito shirt somehow in my dresser. Don't ask what that means.
That's another
That's
story.
another
Yeah.
one. Okay,
With
it's
the-
another
with
time.
Free Vito.
Well, I have one with Vito when he was during COVID, when he was walking, like he would walk like 5 miles a day, and your broker Jason Fiella would come out of the car and try to hug him and videotape it.
Yes, I remember this.
Yes, and he caught a picture of it. And Vito's running, he looks frightened, and we put it on a T-shirt and spread it around your office. It was fantastic.
And now I have it.
Yeah.
And then what about that other shirt you did when I was in 8th grade and you put it on?
Oh
you
my
took the
God.
picture and you put it on a T-shirt.
Yes.
We were at, I think it was at Christmas or one of the holidays, and one of my nephews got this shirt on
Yes.
there, and I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that was me in 8th grade. What are you doing with that
Yeah.
shirt?
Don't be in an uncomfortable position. If I'm near, I will get a picture and put it on a shirt.
I love it. I love it.
That is funny. So okay. So then, fast forward, right?
So I started with Century 21 in 2020.
Yep.
COVID.
and then you had a life event.
I did have a life event. My youngest daughter, Gracie, was diagnosed with cancer a month later. So August of 2020, I get hit with that. And we immediately go into, gas pedal mode, like just getting her to Memorial Sloan Kettering. She was stage 4, so it was everywhere. It was very aggressive. And she proceeded to get lots of chemo, surgeries, radiation, immunotherapy. And it was like 14 months of hell. Ironically, my real estate career exploded. Mm-hmm. And it was at the time when we were sort of like in our routine. You could only have one caregiver at the hospital. So my husband and I were sort of like, he would go one week, I would go the other week. So when I was at home with my kids, I was getting calls for listings and things like that. And I had a decision to make. And at the time, my husband, because of COVID as well, sort of his job was put on the back burner. So he needed my support, financially. So we made a family decision to take on that real estate business. And I don't regret that because at the time, dealing with something so painful, I always love helping people. And this was an outlet for me to where I could be a resource. And sales is like educating someone. You're their tool. So it was also healing for me that I could provide that for someone else while this was going on. It was like a perfect distraction. And she's now been happily in remission for 2 years. She is a Spitfire.
And this is Gracie.
Gracie.
Yeah.
She's
I
been
mean,
thriving
the
in every
pictures
way.
we saw from the beginning till now, it's just amazing. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just going through COVID during that period, the stress level was high, but you had to go to the hospital, and just going to a hospital was like
you know me. I'm like, the glass is always half full.
Yep.
And I took that as a blessing because there was no traffic. We had to go to MSK in the middle of the night sometimes to get her to get an antibiotic if she had a fever because she had a port. So for us, we were like, can you imagine if we were sitting in traffic, we're on the GW bridge, we get stuck.
Right.
So we were able to come in and out. We managed, because of his job, he was working from home, that he could be there with the girls when I was with Gracie. So we were literally fully dividing and conquering.
Right.
And it was I don't know how it would have happened if COVID was not going on, honestly.
Right. Isn't that strange? Like, that things do happen for a reason. Like,
Yep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
how
I was
old
also
is Gracie now?
Gracie is 8. She was diagnosed when she was 5. She's in 3rd grade, and now that she's better, it's allowed me to sort of, as a thank you to my community for what they did for us when she was sick. I mean, I would answer the door, and I remember it was during Christmas. All of those trucks that have the crazy lights on them were barreling down the street, and they were like, come outside, and I like bundled her up, and we went outside, and I'm like, who did this for us? You know what I mean? And it was like a series of things where I felt so grateful, but also felt like I needed to give something back too, as like my thank you, because there's something to be said about when you're going through something like that, where you have something beautiful to share with your family and like think about something positive, right? So that was a part of my life where I think sort of led me into starting this foundation in her name.
So can you talk to us?
About how the foundation works,
Sure.
what you do. I know it's a nonprofit.
Yep. So I actually was at a golf outing in August, and I was talking to another mom who just lost her son to cancer. And she was like, it's really funny. There's no awareness around pediatric cancer. She goes, breast cancer does such a great job with fundraising. I mean, even like our kids' sports, rock pink shirts or socks or something. Like there's always something that's like promoting
for like a whole month
awareness. Yeah, they have their own month and everything. Well, pediatric cancer has one too. It's in September. And in my mind I was like, we need to go gold. Like we need to have every sports team wear gold. And I sort of like, my mind was like racing. I'm like, I have to make this happen. This is like late August. And overnight I was like, I'm going to start a nonprofit. We're going to have Montville go gold. And my first event was this pep rally. I ended up raising $7,000.
Wow.
4 of which I gave to this family who just lost their son. And from there, it was something that I was like, I could really do something with this. And this is my thank you. This is my pay it forward purpose.
Yep.
And honestly, it's something that is like a dream come true. I think everything happens for a reason. I think that this is going to help a lot of people.
So what does the foundation specifically do? Like, can you give us some examples?
Sure.
Yeah.
So in that situation, because I had just met that family and I really wanted to do something in honor of Liam, that's what we did. There was also a little girl that was diagnosed the same week as Gracie, and we were always in the hospital with her. Her name was Charlotte. And I've always followed her mom on social media, and we've like stayed in contact, and she's relapsed 3 times. So you can imagine having a healthy daughter and saying, why Gracie? And your heart breaks for this family that has to keep living through this, situation. So I was like creating these fundraisers for in situations like this. So the idea is to like help families that are dealing with cancer, but then it also becomes, well, who else needs help? What's what's currently going on? And another thing that the foundation did recently was, I'm Catholic, Christian, and I had our church make cards for the temple because, as we know, the Jews are, they're going through a hard time. And not to get political or anything, it was more like a humanitarian thing. It's like, just tell them that, we wish you peace.
Right.
So it's sort of like kind of expanding in that way where you're just sort of sharing positivity and pain.
Well, I think that transcends all religions and politics. And,
yes.
I don't think, childhood cancer knows that you're a Democrat or a Republican.
No, and honestly, and I don't even want to get caught in the weeds with it.
Right.
It's just about helping others, being kind. And again, it comes from a place of us giving it back.
Right.
And now you still have a lot of kids naturally. You still go to the hospitals in New York? Or
Well, she's right now in a trial. So MSK created a vaccine that she gets. She's actually due for one, and her last one will be next year. And then she's done with all treatment and everything.
That's cool.
She's actually going to start a long-term survivorship program in January. And that's the biggest deal in the world. That is when they believe that she is on the road to real recovery.
Right.
So we couldn't be happier about that.
And now there's still a lot of kids that are Gracie's age that are still in the hospital.
Yeah.
That still need help and financially and, especially I guess now with, you know, the holidays coming up, these
Yep.
families can't think about getting the kids
And that was
anything.
another big reason with Charlotte is that her family lives in Arizona, so they fly out to New York for treatment. And obviously, that's costly. I mean, we were fortunate to live an hour
Right,
away,
an hour
thank
away.
God. And so we did a fundraiser for them, and I just actually just mailed her another check as well
Wow.
for the holidays. So,
Yeah.
Amazing.
yeah.
Well, then on that note, Dave and I, Vino with Vito, are going to donate $500.
Oh, thank
today.
you. And you know what? You guys
but
have
be-
always been very supportive.
But besides that,
our
I have
family,
a,
so thank you.
a real estate holding company with my partners, Nucci and Johnny. We're going to donate another 5.
Yep.
And Nucci's going to donate another 5 from his company, East Coast Electric.
Yep.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah, okay.
We're all going to cry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's you know
I
it's
have the checks in my pocket, but I'll give it to you later on, okay?
Thank you, Vito.
You're quite welcome.
it's it's remarkable, right? Because you know, we always talk about like like servant leadership, right? And like purpose driven, right? And it's your positivity is amazing. I mean, it's always you're always glass is full, right? And
Yeah.
you took something, and sometimes like great things are created out of tough times, right? Out of and
Oh, yeah.
and you're just you're rolling with it. I know we've had conversations, and I know you've partnered up with the wine company's just slipping my mind.
One Hope.
One Hope.
One Hope. That
One
was gonna
Hope.
be my
Yep.
other-
And and I actually our family joined. The wine's great, by the way.
It's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
I
really
wanted to
good.
bring you a bottle, but I drank it all.
But we're actually going to have Dana
Yeah,
from One
yeah.
Hope.
Oh, that's
Can you-
great.
but can
She's
you,
awesome.
Can you talk about One Hope for a second, like how
Sure.
you're associated with them and
So recently, let me think. So our broker, Jason Fiala, had an open house where he had a ton of vendors show up. It was a great party, and he did a great job with that. That's where I met Dana. Meeting her was awesome because she is also a part of this nonprofit organization that has this winery that makes incredible wine. So when I was ordering my case for my personal use, she was like, well, you can write this off. And I was like, oh, wait. No, my good friend Jason Dion was like, she has an organization. So she goes, you're kidding. So that's sort of how we connected. And then we were able to partner at another event together where the proceeds that she raised went back to my foundation as well.
Right.
I am planning to do a huge event for Gracie's Army, sort of to like launch us
Yep.
next year. You will all be invited.
Perfect.
But we are going to raise a ton of money, and she's going to be there as a vendor as well. And it's
So
gonna be awesome.
now when you sign up so I signed up for the Wine of the Month club, and I think 10%.
10% goes back-
Goes to
Army.
Gracie's Army, and you could pick the
You can pick your
You can pick your
organization.
organization. So yeah, so
And
you
that's
know,
the beauty of it is
Yeah.
that, that's what they do, is that you tell them what is meaningful to you, and that will go back to a special place. So
Right, right. No, it's
it's
amazing.
a great, it's a great
Yeah.
process.
But I just can't get over everything that you do, and you're sitting here with a big smile on
Yeah.
your face with
Listen, help.
Always. too. Yeah.
all the time with what you've been through.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here all the time with a big smile on your face.
But I think, if you remember when I was in the thick of it, I also put that out there on social media. When I tell you that I am as real as it gets, I was physically in pain, and I was sharing that on social media. It was definitely a choice. It brought me comfort because it was cathartic that I could just get it out. So if someone saw me at the store, it wasn't like, hey, what's going on with Gracie? How are you feeling about it? It's kind of like they already knew.
Right.
And I was able to just get it out and move on. And I
Yes.
think that was like the source of my strength, is to be able to not hold it in, not pretend that everything was like roses and all
Right.
these things. I was like, no, this is hell. And that was how I sort of, grew from there.
But now, fast forward, and I see, from just in the office or on social media, Gracie's rolling. She's
great.
She's at school. She's playing. She's, thank God. And
she's like me. I don't want to take credit for, what kind of a person she is, but she is also a type of friend to others, to where she wants to help them. When we go back to the hospital, she'll find that kid that's sick, and let's say they have like the IV pull, she wrote about it at school, and she'll help them because she's like, I remember what that felt like.
Right.
And and it's crazy because she was 5, but she still remembers.
Yeah.
And it has not left her. She really is grateful for where she is today, and so are we, obviously. But she loves this idea of what our family is doing for others.
Wow.
Yeah.
You picture an 8-year-old kid and,
Yeah.
what she went through and still helping everybody out. It's just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an inspiring story. It really is. And
Thank you.
That's why, Vito wanted to get you on here. And
No, and I think it was nice because I've never really, I promote it on social media and stuff like that, but I've never physically, haven't seen my face talk about Gracie's Army Foundation unless you've been at an event or something like that, or we've spoke like personally. But so this was very nice.
Yeah, and we want everybody out there to, if they can donate, hey, it's going to a great cause. And, and for us, the 1,500 today is especially during the holidays, some families are
it's going to help a family, and it all goes to somewhere. It all goes somewhere, and you know where it's going to go.
Right.
So
now, how can people find you? Like, find the organization? Like, what's the easiest way?
So I just completed my website. It is www.graciesarmyfoundation.org.
Okay.
All of the buttons to donate are on there. Our stories on there. Our warriors that we highlight, the families that we help are on there, and the local businesses that we partner with, like One Hope, will be on there as well. So you can see sort of where we are connected, and it's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got tears in my eyes. So
I know, you're making me.
Have Dave and yourself talk a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I think it's, you're an inspiration. You really are.
Oh,
and,
thank you, Dave.
it's, words can't really describe, like, unless you're in there, like, we don't have an idea of, like, what you went through. But I think that if anyone, and there's a lot of jokes that go on Vito's podcast, and, but I really think that, like, you would be an inspiration for not only just business owners, right? Because to go through, like, what you went through, and while you're, your story's amazing. You relocated, you built a business, but then also to go through that and to, take it to where you have, I think, a lot of people out there are going through what you're going through, and you could be a light for them. I mean, you really could. And, and furthermore, I think businesses, are looking for things to get involved with. Like, I think people like to do business with people who are not just, who give back. You know what I mean? And, and I think your organization, your foundation is, perfect, partner for a lot of local businesses to do.
Absolutely.
And
I think people that their kids are going through this, I'm sure, can call you and
and they have. I've gotten calls from. It's incredible how connected you are with all of these families, having gone through something like this. There's Facebook groups that I'm affiliated with from way back when, who I still visit. I still share things because Gracie is a miracle. She had stage 4 cancer. It was all over her body. And because of how I put our family out there, we yielded so many prayers. The temple, which is why we made cards for them this Christmas and Hanukkah, was because every single Saturday they would pray for Gracie. And they did it even when she was healthy. I never forgot that. I never forgot, like, wow, she's not even Jewish, and they're praying for her.
Yeah.
Right.
I would have people call me, oh, my church in New Hampshire, we're all praying for Gracie. I believe that is what healed her because, honestly, the chips were stacked against her, and we were told that. So to have her here and be a light is why that foundation is also doing so well, because people need that light.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's really, it's just, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
The power of prayer.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And I remember when it first happened, like you said, everybody was praying for Gracie.
Yep.
And we look at Gracie now, and she's a healthy little 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing, and life is beautiful. It's like, how can I not have a smile on my face?
Yeah.
Right?
And you always have that smile.
Always. You always do.
Before and
Yeah.
and now.
Well, you guys are easy to work with too. I mean, it's a fun group.
It's a very supportive group, your office,
It is.
too.
Yes, we love our office. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And
Everyone
Jason does a great job of getting a culture together and, everyone together and supporting each other. So
He does, and he was really the first person that was like, "You doing real estate shouldn't be a secret. Get it out there."
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
You have to.
and that sort of like was the light bulb for me too. It was like, I already do it with all this other stuff. Why wouldn't I do it with this?
Yep.
So he's really great at that stuff.
I'll never forget. It was Jason and I back in the day, and right after the market crash and everything, and it was just him and I in the office, and we're looking at each other, and it was just the market was dead. Nothing going on.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like, let's get in the car. Let's go for a ride. We go for a ride. If you see a dumpster out or if you see somebody out, you start talking.
Pod.
Pod or whatever.
Yeah.
You're thinking of moving or whatever. But
a little dumpster diving.
Yep.
But that's how, with Jason and I go back a while, and, we keep doing what we're doing, but we remember those hard times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
Nothing steady, though, like in real estate, though. and, like,
Yeah,
business,
everything is like fleeting.
Yeah.
Like
You
even
never
the
see
COVID
the line
market.
go like this.
Yeah.
It never goes like that. Nothing ever goes like that, regardless of what business you're in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's times where you have nothing going on at all.
Yeah.
And, like, you start scratching your head. I mean, I remember back in, 2009, 2010, I had left my job in 2005, and I'm like, what the heck
hell
did
did I
I
do?
do?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that next paycheck going to come?
Yep.
I always
how am
think
I
of
gonna
it as
do
like I'm an actress, right? And you get the movie, you get the part, you do the production, it's done, and then you're like, when's the next gig?
Yeah.
When's that phone gonna ring? And then you're in the next role or whatever. And
As a commission salesman, my old mentor used to tell me you're unemployed every day.
Oh,
You wake up, you don't know where your next check is coming from, and I hope we picked
You're
this
like
up on
me.
camera.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
hope
okay.
we got this. I said no, and Vito just pours.
That's all right. We got to finish this bottle.
So what's in store for your real estate business in 2024? What do we think?
I think 2024 is going to be exciting. I think we've all sort of been like, 2023 was rough.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rates going up, everybody was, for me, with my business, I had the best year of my career.
Yep.
But every single transaction I had, I'd get multiples. Then all of a sudden they'd change their mind. Then you'd put it back in the market or have to do a price drop. I mean, you really had to pivot constantly.
Yep.
Constantly. It was not easy. Whereas maybe a couple years ago, you put it up, multiple bids, you get the price that you have dreamed about, and then you're done.
Yep.
This was work.
Yes.
So it was a good year for me. I think next year, having the foundation is going to go hand in hand with my business. It just has to. It's a part of my life.
It should.
You're right. So I'm going to figure out different events to, affiliate myself with from a business perspective, and then also how I can, work on the foundation as well.
You know what the beauty of like our business though is something like it's a light bulb just went in my head, but it's like I always tell my guys like,
Light bulb. Look at your head. No
yeah,
wonder.
it's right. Not my head.
You are the bright light.
I am the bright light. My head is the beacon.
Our beacon of hope.
Yes. I don't know what kind, you're making fun of anybody with that light shirt. You could take that shirt off. I can't take this off. But what everyone always asks, like, I'll never forget, like, 24 years I've been doing this. March 1st will be 25 years. And one of my brothers was always like, I don't understand, like, how do you do a job where you don't know what you're going to make, right, tomorrow? And, and you just don't know where your next paycheck's going to come from. Mm-hmm. And, my answer to him was, hey, like, how do you take a job where you know what you're going to make everything out? That's just a commission salesman's mindset, right? It's not for everybody.
It's not. You got to have...
But the one thing, though, sorry to cut you off, but the one thing is, it does afford you the freedom to do other things.
Right.
And when you can marry the two, like you're doing with Gracie's Army, you know, it's truly a blessing. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
not a lot of people can do that, right? Like a lot of parents who are going through what you're going or went through what you're going through, they work 9 to 5, or
Yeah.
like they can't get out of the office. Like they, you know, they have an hour lunch break and it's set and whatever, which is fine. Like, you know, that's most of jobs actually, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, you know,
we're like the
it's
1%.
right.
you know?
We are like, so, you know, the fact that you are, you know, the time that you have and you're afforded the freedom and flexibility and you're making the most of it is tremendous.
Yeah.
And you decide what you're going to make because you got to hustle. You got to go
Yeah.
out there. You got to let everybody know what you're doing.
Right.
And you know your 9 to 5 jobs. Here, I'll give you an example. My brother Rocco, worked for a company. Rocco's what, 64 now?
He looks a lot younger than you. I
No,
know
he
we've mentioned this
doesn't.
before, but he does look a
He's
lot
not.
better than you.
Oh my
He
God.
was working for
Rough crowd.
but he was working for this company, I think, since he was like 17, 18 years old. Okay, so you're 40 some odd years
Yes.
working at this company. Well, the company several years ago sold, and he was higher up there running everything. And, you know, you're guaranteed a paycheck every week. And now the company got sold, they restructured. Rocco's out of a job.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
You have to reinvent yourself.
But now he's 64 years old.
It's like an
It's
identity
time-
crisis.
difficult.
You're like,
Right.
who am I?
Right.
When am
but
I?
just to show you, you know what? If you have that 9 to 5 job, it's not secure.
Yeah.
Look at me. I left a job and went to strict commission. And why? Because, again, it's not a secure place to be.
For
Yeah.
people that are looking to get into the real estate industry, right? And, you know, sometimes I think we should just do a show about, like, you know, getting into real estate, like,
Yeah.
for newer people, because as much as we talk about, like, it being difficult, there's a horde of younger people, you know, the next generation, you know, in their 20s that are getting into real estate and into mortgages. And I think the number one thing, at least for me, was, you know, besides the whole freedom part, is you are your own boss. Like, you really can never be laid off. You
Well,
never could be laid off,
You
fired,
also
or
have to
downside.
really understand how to manage your time.
Yes.
It's really what you put into it.
Yes.
If you're not, and they've always said this, I mean, that's never changed. It's what you put into it is what you're going to get back. If you're not 100% all in on real estate,
Right.
you're not getting that back.
Correct.
I think for new people, their advantage is that they are really like tech savvy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a couple of agents in our office that are amazing at their marketing. And honestly, in this day and age, that's what people want.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, that's the thing with real estate. You can't really rely on your laurels. You have to really keep it moving, keep it fresh, learn these curves, you know, get yourself up to date with, you know, technology and all that stuff because it does help you.
It's funny. I'm the oldest on my team. I have a team of 5 people that work with me, and I'm the oldest.
How
and
old are you, Dave, by the way?
I'm going to be 47.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm the oldest on the team, and I love it by design. Like, they'll show me, and I'm a pretty tech savvy guy, but
You
they'll
are.
show me things like, you know, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, you know, and you know, and I love that because you're absolutely right. There is, you know, the real estate and society, but real estate in itself, you know, is accelerating so quick. The technology is accelerating. Like, we've leapt forward more in the past 10 years than we did like the 30 years prior. Like, and it's only going to accelerate
Right.
even more.
You got to
Like,
keep up.
5 years from now, the market and like how we do business and how we market and generate is going to be even more advanced than it is today. And it's, you know, you have to keep up on it, you know, and
Right.
it's,
Yeah. If you don't keep up on it, forget it. You're going to be.
or surround yourself with people that do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what's great about our office too is that during like those COVID years, we were making videos. We had a lot of fun, you know, kind of creating this content around our listings to make it different, to separate it from just, you know, putting it on the MLS, putting the sign in the yard and crossing your fingers and hoping that you would get what you want, you know? So,
Right. We do, like you said, different things different in our office
Yeah.
where, you know, we work for the seller or we work for the buyer, especially when you're working for the seller. You're not just going to put a sign up
Yeah.
on the front lawn and say, "Yeah, I hope this guy comes, sells this house for me. I made a commission." No, I mean we invest money. We do the videos.
Yep.
We do, you know, we get everybody together in the office. Everybody shares each other's posts,
Yep.
So you're not just getting one person, you're getting a whole...
All of us.
All of us,
You're stuck with us.
You're stuck with all of us. Essex County, Morris County,
Yeah.
Bergen County, Passaic County. So, I mean, we do differings differently. And again, the other slogan, we are local. You know, nobody...
we practice what we preach, for sure.
That's it. And... knowing me, when I walk in my town in Fairfield, a lot of people notice me from the
shirts.
office and but
All the shirts.
All the shirts.
but sometimes we always want to wear our We Are Local gear or Century 21 gear and everything to remind people this is what we do. We do real estate. I have people stop me all the time, and without a Century 21 shirt or whatever, one of these crazy shirts, but and ask me about the real estate. Hey, what did that house sell for? Or, what's that house going for? But you need to stay on top of that, and we do it as an office.
Yep.
Well, and you know what too, like you have a brand like as your office, but you also like, and you as well, Nina, like you guys have a brand, like your own personal brand, right? Like as much as we bust your chops about your hat, your shirt, and everything else about you, but it's a brand, right?
Yes.
Like it really is a brand. He's branded himself, and like even like with the when the show starts, the credits, you see him with his hat and whatever. That's branding, and everybody has a branding. Now it can't. Maybe some people are not as comfortable as being as out there as him,
right?
But but if you have your own personal brand, you'll succeed, and you have to have it. It's paramount to your success.
Yeah, because there's a lot of realtors out there, and they all have something.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you are unique, you're authentic, and you are just, again, putting your best foot forward.
Right.
Because it will all come back.
Right. And there's a lot of realtors out there where, you have a multiple offer situation. I'm in one right now, and I had the listing. Oh, my people have to have it. I'll do whatever we got to do. It's as is, no inspection, boom. And meanwhile, okay, we end up taking their offer. Inspections come, we want this. I thought it was structural.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
well, okay. We decide we're going to do everything. All right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but you know what? The roof is not leaking. There's no reason for us to give you credit.
Right.
It's not leaking. Make a long story short, we agree on everything, but that realtor was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Every time I would call, I'm at the doctor. I'm showing a house. I know damn well you're not doing any of that. Pick up your damn phone.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Nobody's that busy.
Nobody's that busy.
Like
I
you
don't
can text
care.
her.
And
whatever.
that is really the second negotiation, is that inspection. Because then you're like, well, you know what? They beat us up on the price with the offer.
Right.
Now they're doing this again with the inspection, and you got to hold them. It's like, it's tough. Especially
tough.
when they're going back on their word.
Absolutely.
It's like one of my pet peeves.
Yeah. And now, like that agent, do you ever think we're going to have a conversation again when she has an offer?
You're not building the relationship.
You're not building a relationship.
And that is part of your sales, is you're a relationship salesperson.
Yeah.
But come to me and say, hey, it's not me, it's the buyers.
Right.
I just want you to be aware. This is what they want. This is what they're doing. You know what? Then it's a different conversation. But, not to be found anywhere. Come on. Give me a break.
I know.
So before you wrap it up, I guess you just say you're lucky that I didn't ask the crew to put your leather pants on camera, because not only is she runs a foundation, has a successful real estate career, she rocks leather pants.
I do.
Yes.
It's my
Come on, if you can stand
it's
up.
my uniform.
Yes.
We want
There
see
you
the-
go. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
look at
See,
that.
that's the Vegas in her, by the
It
way.
is. You
Yes.
really can't take the girl out of
Yes.
Vegas.
It's like rock star. Like she's a rock star. Like,
Yeah.
Well, since you
Always.
lifted up your leg, look.
Oh,
Nice
gosh.
rubber Graham socks,
Don't
too.
one up me.
I know. Don't one up the leather pants. So so it was amazing, Vito.
amazing.
Yes, that was fun.
Dina, what'd you think of this?
This was fun. This was great. I
Right.
love that it's a conversation It's easy. It's not like a camera's in your face. You're just.
Well, we
it's like-
hide them.
Yeah.
We hide the cameras.
We hide
Well-
It's in your face.
And we hide the guy behind the camera.
But
We
you don't
wanna
feel
see
it.
Right.
It feels, like we're at a dinner table.
Right.
And I like that.
And that's how it should be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
open conversation.
Yeah.
And you'll notice there's no editing. Whatever we say,
No, I like
we
that.
say.
Yeah.
Off the
and-
cuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right off the cuff. And I mean, I enjoy it. Dave enjoys it.
Yeah.
We all.
I'm proud of you. And speaking of marketing, this was something that you did that separated yourself from everyone else. And I think it's doing well. And you're a natural.
Yeah.
Thank you. Since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be an actor. So, but now I got like a.
This is your gig.
This is
podcast.
it.
This is my gig.
That's it.
This is my gig.
You're a natural, V.
I'm a
Yeah.
natural. Thank you.
Yes.
But before we go, with Gracie's Foundation, can you just let everybody know again where you
Sure.
can find it?
So, for more information, you can log on to www.graciesarmyfoundation.org, and it will give you all the information you need.
Perfect. All
And
right.
thank you for having me, and many thanks for that generous donation.
No, it was our pleasure, and please, I don't want another tear in my
Yeah,
eye.
let's
I
stop crying.
got a little cold. That's why it's like that. But my
Sure.
wine is finished, and on that note, one day, and that day will come when you need to buy or sell a house. And when that day does come, you need to call Vito Cantuzzi, the godfather of Northern New Jersey real estate.